Good afternoon. Today we are doing CO24. I can find a new amount after an increase. So we're starting to get more challenging. Okay. We started off and people are saying, oh, this is really easy. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. Now we're getting into the more challenging objectives where it's new. So I really need us paying attention. I need for us to be writing down everything I put on the board. You should be putting in your binder. So here, and just as a side note, you'll notice that we're almost to the end of our binder. We're almost to the beginning of the practice work because we are almost to the end of try one. So this means after Thanksgiving, we will be testing on this unit. So we come back from Thanksgiving, Monday we'll review. Tuesday will be a practice test. That Wednesday will be the test. So I will have a review day in because after, Thanksgiving week off, we need to review it. But the testing is coming up. All right, so here are some more situations you may be familiar with having to do with percentages. Last week, maybe you ran 20 miles, and this week you plan to increase that distance by 15%. So how many miles will you run this week? Or maybe you buy an iPod off of eBay for $125. Oof, this is really old because I don't think we buy any iPod off of eBay for $125. But you want to resell it with a 30% markup. So how much are you going to ask for that iPod? Or maybe you have a bowling score of 180 and your goal is to raise it by 45%. What score would you set as your new goal? Thank you to my friends who came in from basketball, nice and quiet. Everybody should be quietly getting ready. So as we saw in PO23, there is more than one way we can answer the above questions. Remember, we talked about using those different methods and finding the one that works. So there are two different ways that we are going to answer this. We can either find the amount of increase first, or we're going to find the new total directly. So if we're going to find the amount of increase first, we're looking at our running problem. Last week you ran 20 miles. This week you want to increase that by 15%. So we want 15% of our 20 miles equals what? What would 15% of the 20 miles equal? Asher?
No.
Close. 3. So 15% of 20 is 3. Is our answer going to be 3? Are we going to run 3 miles this week? No, we're increasing. So we ran 20 miles and we want to increase it by 3. So we want our total number of miles for this week to be 23. So we find that percentage, 15% of 20, and then we have to add it back on to that original amount because we are increasing it. Let's look at our iPod. Our iPod was $125 and we want to resell it for 30% more. So what equation am I going to write? If we're following the same way we did it for the running. James?
30% of
30% of 125. What does that equal? Rowan?
I don't know, but this is just a comment.
Okay.
I think they stopped making iPods in 2020.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about that. Will, that's why it's on eBay. 37 and a half. So that would be 37. If we're talking about money, we go to that hundreds place. So $37.50. So in order to find what we want to turn around and sell it for, because some people really like their iPods, we take that original $125 and we're going to add our $37.50. So we get $162.50. and 50 cents. So now bowling. Your bowling score was 180 and your goal is to raise it by 45%. So what's my first equation, Grace? 45% of 180 equals what? Who's done the math? Claire? 81. So we go back to that score of 180 and we want to increase it by our 81. So we are going for a score of 261. So that's how we do the method where we find the increase and then we add it on. We have another method. This time it's finding the new total directly. So if we look at the running, our equation that we're going to use is we have the original amount times 100% plus the percent that we're increasing it by. So let's look at what that means. If we look at running, what was our original amount of miles? Claire? 20 miles. We're going to multiply that by 100% plus what is our increase? 15%. So we would do 20 times 115%. If we do 20 times 115%, what do we get? Can we put 115% into our calculator? Yes. What would we put in? Yes. How would we put it in, Damien? 115% is not the same thing as 115. Try it again, Damien.
1.15.
115% we want to put as a decimal, 1.15. So we would do 20 times 1.15, Peyton.
Can we do 115 divided by 100?
Do we need to do that much work?
No.
Keep it simple, friends. That's how we make mistakes on the test when we overcomplicate. 115% is 1.15. Okay? So what is 20 times 1.15? Fiona? Let me see your calculator. Oh, you did the long math? That's when we make simple mistakes, and I can look at that later to see where your mistake happened. But if we do 20 times 1.15, what do you get, Lauren? Thumbs up if you got 23 as your answer. Kaylin? Yeah. You need to know how to use it correctly. Same thing with working with the exponents, and I said don't rely on your calculator because people are putting in the calculations wrong on the calculator and they're getting wrong answers. So we're not going to rely on some of those buttons that we don't know for sure how to use. We know 115% is 1.15. Go with what we know for a fact, and then we won't make those simple mistakes. Lucas, that's not what we're learning right now. Okay, right now we're focusing on this. So look at the iPod. What is my original amount? Damien? 125. We're going to multiply that by 100% plus our percent of increase. That percent of increase was that 30%. So then we have 125 times 1.30. 130% is 1. Seriously, Olivia? What am I doing up here? Olivia, what am I doing up here? Teaching. Are you learning when you're over trying to teach Lucas something that I asked us not to do right now while I am teaching? Are you learning? So So you're taking away from your learning time, you're taking away from Lucas's learning time of doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we're taking away from the whole class because now I'm talking about this instead of going over that. When I ask us not to do something, this goes for everyone because this is happening a lot. When I ask for your attention and you go and do something else, when I say we're not going to do that right now because we have a limited amount of time, it's really truly for a reason. We have 14 minutes of class left. Some people would like to be able to have work time in class. If we do the math, what is 125 times 1.3, Will?
162.5.
And we put it as our dollars.
So none of this.
Now we have bowling. What is our original score for the bowling? Jude?
180.
180. And we are increasing that by the 100% plus 45%. So 180 times 1.45. What do we get when we have 180 times 1.45? Henry?
We get 261.
261 for our new score. So, there are two different methods. Some of us go, oh, I really like this method. This works easier for me. This method speaks to me. This makes more sense to me, adding on as we increase it. It doesn't matter which one you use. We get the same answer. Okay, so whichever one makes sense to you, pick that one. Okay, if they both make complete sense, just pick one. Okay, we only have to use one method. So using one of the methods above, we're going to answer each question. Use a sales tax of 7%. So let me scroll up. You purchase a calendar for $12 and pay with a $20 bill. How much is your change? What do I have to do to answer that? Because remember, there is sales tax. So if you buy something for $12, is that all you have to give the cashier? No, because it's going to cost more because there's sales tax. Oh, that dreaded sales tax. So what do we have to do, Grace? So we could find that 7% of 12, which is what? Lucas?
84.
0.84. 84 cents. So now what's my next step?
You would do $12. No, you change $8.
So the first thing we have to know is how much we have to pay altogether. So we're going to pay $12.84, but that's not my answer. The question is what's your change? So we need to subtract that $12.84 from the $20 that we paid with. Right? So we want to know how much money we get back from $20. So $20 minus $12.84 gives us $7.16. That is our final answer. We always have to go back with those word problems and make sure that we're doing all the steps. We don't want to know $12.84 as our answer, but we need to know that to get to our answer. You purchase a mango skin belt for $19.50, 2 packs of batteries for $4.50 each, and a phone case for $3.75. You pay with a $50 bill. How much is your change? This one gets a little more complicated because we need to add up. So we have two $4.50 plus our phone case. Add all of those up, find the 7% tax, subtract that total amount away from our $50 bill. So make sure you notice that there's 2 packs of batteries. So we have two $4.50 that we're buying. On our second page, we have a table we have to fill in. Below is the nightly report for a waitress at a local restaurant. Calculate each customer's bill after the tip has been added. So we've got our original amount, we've got our percent of increase, and then you have to do the math and you're putting in what their total bill is. So you have to find out what that tip percentage was, add it back to your original, and put the new amount of how much they paid to go out to eat. Notice on the middle here, it says, find the new amount, show your work, show your work, show your work, show your work. You're not just saying, oh, I know what numbers to put into my calculator, and I'm gonna put in my calculator and put the answer down. You are showing your work, friend. You are writing down what the calculations are that you're putting into the calculator. And then you can put what the answer is. If you are watching at home, I hope you are well. Have a wonderful day.